Okay, hello folks again. I did promise you that we weren't going to be doing simplifying 5 today, but I didn't say we weren't going to be doing algebra, so we're going to be looking at factorising today. This will be work for the 25th of March, that's the Wednesday. So we're going to be looking at factorising. What does that mean? Well, we talk about factors of numbers. For example, the factor of 10 would be 2 and 5 or 1 and 10. Common factor would be a factor that is common to two numbers. So for example, if you were talking about 8 and 12, they would both be in the 2 times table. They would also be in the 4 times table, so that would be the highest common factor of those two numbers. So we're doing exactly that, but we're doing it with algebra. So what does that mean in terms of these? Well, if we look at the first question here, find the highest common factor of 8x and 10. This is the one that's algebraic, this one is not, just normal number. So let's not forget, let's forget about the x, simply because there isn't an x here, so it can't be the common factor. 8 and 10 are both even, so they're both in the 2 times table. There's no bigger number that goes into both of them. So what we would say is that 2 is the common factor. And so we can literally take 2 out of both of those numbers. And so in this case, we would say that 2 goes into 8x, and so 2 times 4x will give us 8x, and 2 times 5 will give us 10. And so what we've done is seen that 2 goes into both of the numbers. So if we look at the second one here, we've got 6x and 14x. So this time we've got an x in both of them. So again, they've both got an algebraic bit. They both have x as a common factor. If we now just look at the numerical part of it, 6 and 14, again, they are both even numbers. So 2 will go into 6 and 14. So in this case, 2x is the common factor. So if we just write that down, and we can see how 2x goes into both pieces. So 2x, what would we times it by to get to 6x? It would be 3. And what would we times 2x by to get to the 14x? Well, we've already got the x, so 2x times 7 will give us the 14x. So, third question. This time we're looking, again, 2 algebraic parts. We've got x and y this time, though. So 2 different letters. Different letters mean they're not the same, basically. So they're not sharing the same algebraic common factor. So this time it will only be the 8 and the 14 that we're looking for. 8 and 14 are both even. They're both in the 2 times table. There's no higher common factor than 2 in 8 and 14. So in this case, it will just be 2 is the common factor. And we can show that by simply saying that 2, how many times does 2 go into 8x? Well, 2 times 4 is 8. So 2 times 4x will give us 8x. Again, 2 goes into 14y. 2 times 7 gives us the 14. We must remember the y, and so we can again see that 2 goes into both algebraic terms. Okay, the next question, we've got 15x and 35xy. So we'll look at the algebra for a start. We've got an x and an xy. So we can see clearly that x literally goes into both of them. So x is going to be a common factor. We'll also look at the 15 and 35. You're probably realising ending 5, they're in the 5 times table. So 5 and x go into both numbers. So 5x will be the common factor. Sorry about my shadow there. And we can see how many times. So 5x, well, remember 5 times 3 gives us 15. So 5x times 3 gives you 15x. And how many 5s go into 35? 7. And how many x's go into xy? That's a bit of a weird one to say that, but basically what do we times x by to get to xy? The answer is y. So 5x times 7y gives us 35xy. I should be left-handed for this. Okay, next one, this is where it gets a bit trickier. So 4x adds 6. We've not got 2 different numbers like the previous question. However, we do have an algebraic expression with 2 terms. We've got the 4x and the 6. So when we say factorise in this case, we're saying what is common to both these parts. What number goes into the 4x and also goes into the 6? So in this case, we'll be saying 4 and 6 are both even, so 2 goes into them. The left-hand piece is algebraic, the right-hand piece is not, so they're not sharing an x, so just the 2. So in this case, we would say 2 is the common factor. We wouldn't normally write this bit down, but 2 is the common factor. So if we write 2 down, the idea is what do we times 2 by to get to the 4x? And what do we times 2 by to get to the 6? Well, in order to create this, we need to add some brackets. And the idea is that we will times the 2 by 2 different numbers to get to this. So we start off on the left. 2 times what will give me 4x? Well, 2 times 2 gives me 4. 2 times 2x will give me 4x. And then here we've got 2 times what will give me 6. 2 times 3. And so in this case we'll have 3. 2 3s, 6. And we need to keep the same sign in the middle here. So 2 times 2x is 4x, 2 times 3 gives me 6. Okay, and the next question, we've got 12x add 30y. In this case, what we're going to look at now is 2 parts. We've got the 12x and the 30y, both algebraic but different letters. So in this case, we can see x and y not the same. However, the 12 and 30 have something in common. They're both even, so literally 2 will go into both numbers. We'll double check is there any other numbers that go into them. Actually, hold on, there is. 3. 3 goes into 12 and 3 goes into 30. And then even bigger, remember we were doing highest common factor before, 6 will go into 12 and 6 will go into 30. So the highest common factor, and that's what we're looking for here, will be 6. So if we write down 6, 6 will go into 12x and 6 will go into 30. And if we just think about what we're going to times by here, 6 times what will give me 12x? Well, 6 times 2 will give me 12. 6 times 2x will give me 12x. And then 6 times what will give me 30? Y. Well, 6 times 5 will give me 30. 6 times 5y will give me 30y. And of course, I've just got the plus sign in the middle. And we're done. Okay. Thank you, folks. And I'll see you next time.